Imagine waking up tomorrow morning to find that all your boring computer tasks are already done. Your emails are organized, your calendar is updated, that report you've been putting off, finished. Sounds like science fiction, right? Well, welcome to 2025, where AI agents are turning that dream into reality. Guys, welcome back to Dark Mode AI. Today we're diving deep into OpenClaw, formerly known as Claude and GPT-4, the viral AI agent that's taking the internet by storm. If you've been living under a rock, OpenClaw is an open-source artificial intelligence agent that can actually control your computer and do real work for you. We're talking about the closest thing to Jarvis from Iron Man that actually exists right now. In just the last few months, OpenClaw has exploded across social media. It gained over 60,000 GitHub stars. People are calling it their Jarvis moment. And honestly, they're not wrong. This tool is powerful. Most tutorials out there assume you're already a developer. They throw around terms like API endpoints and environment variables, like everyone knows what they mean. That's not helpful if you're just starting out. So today, we're going back to basics. No judgment, no assumptions. By the end of this video, you'll understand exactly what OpenClaw is, why everyone's talking about it, how to set it up safely on a mini computer, and how to get your first agent running. We'll cover hardware requirements, security concerns, and I'll walk you through the actual installation process. So grab a coffee, settle in, and let's build your first AI agent together. Before we dive into the technical setup, let's talk about what OpenClaw actually is. Because if you're going to give something access to your computer, you should probably understand it first. OpenClaw, originally called ClaudeBot and later MoltBot, is an open-source AI agent platform. Think of it like this. You know how you use Siri or Alexa? OpenClaw is like that, but on steroids. Instead of just answering questions, it can actually control your computer, browse the web, and write code. The open-source part is crucial. It means the code is publicly available. Anyone can inspect it. This transparency is why it's gained so much trust. You can see exactly what the software does. Now here's where it gets interesting. OpenClaw doesn't actually have its own brain. Instead, it acts as a framework that connects to powerful AI models like Claude, which is made by Anthropic. Think of OpenClaw as the body and Claude as the brain. OpenClaw provides the hands and eyes, while Claude provides the intelligence to understand what you want and figure out how to do it. This architecture is brilliant because it means OpenClaw can work with different AI models. You can use Claude 4.5, GPT-4, or even run local models on your own hardware for privacy. So why is everyone freaking out? Well, for the first time, we have an AI agent that actually works reliably. Previous attempts at AI agents were clunky and limited. They'd fail at complex tasks or require hand-holding. OpenClaw is different. People are sharing videos of it completing entire projects while they sleep. One developer had it build a complete web app overnight. Another set it up to manage meal planning in Notion. But perhaps the most viral moment was Moltbook. Someone created a social network exclusively for AI agents. No humans allowed, just agents posting, commenting, arguing, and upvoting content. Since launching in late January, Moltbook has grown to over 1.5 million AI agents. Andrei Karpathy called it the most incredible science fiction adjacent thing he'd seen recently. This viral success has created a massive community. Thousands are sharing setups and troubleshooting together. The Discord is buzzing 24/7. Reddit is full of use cases. TikTok is overflowing with demos. It's not just a tool anymore. It's a movement. But with great power comes great responsibility. And that's something we need to talk about seriously before you install anything. Let's have a frank conversation about security, because this is probably the most important section of this entire video. When you give OpenClaw access to your computer, you're giving it a lot of power. It can read and write files, browse the internet, and run commands. Basically, anything you can do, it can do. That's incredibly useful, but it's also potentially dangerous if not configured properly. Think about your main computer right now. It probably has your personal photos, your financial documents, your email, your passwords saved in browsers. The question you need to ask yourself is this: do you want an AI agent having access to all of that? The answer for most people should be no. This is why the trending recommendation is to run it on a separate machine, a dedicated mini computer. This approach follows what security experts call the principle of least privilege. You give the AI agent only the access it needs to do its job, nothing more. Your personal data stays safe on your main computer. If something goes wrong, the damage is contained. Mini computers are perfect for this. Now let's talk about the elephant in the room: API costs versus local models. When OpenClaw connects to Claude or GPT through APIs, you're paying per token. Tokens are basically chunks of text that the AI processes. For heavy usage, this can get expensive quickly. Some users report spending $50 to $100 per month. That's why many people are experimenting with local models. Tools like LM Studio or Ollama allow you to run AI models directly on your hardware. No API costs, complete privacy. The trade-off? Local models aren't quite as capable as Claude 4.5 Sonnet or GPT-4. They're getting better rapidly, but there's still a gap. Here's my recommendation for beginners. Start with API-based models like Claude. Yes, there's a cost, but it's manageable if you're careful. Set up spending limits. Monitor your usage. As you get comfortable and your needs grow, then consider transitioning to local models. Another security concern is the proliferation of scam websites. Because OpenClaw has gone viral, scammers have created fake download sites claiming to offer the software. Forbes documented several of these fraudulent websites. They look legitimate, but could contain malware or steal your information. Always download OpenClaw from the official GitHub repository. That's the only safe source. Don't trust random download links, even if they show up in search results. Finally, let's address the philosophical question that's been circulating. Should we be building agents this powerful? The debate is fascinating. Proponents argue that AI agents will free humans from tedious work. Critics worry about job displacement, security risks, and the loss of human agency. I don't have all the answers, but I believe that AI agents are coming whether we're ready or not. The question is how to do it responsibly. That means understanding what you're building, implementing proper security measures, and thinking critically about the tasks you automate. Okay, security lecture over. Let's talk hardware. Section 3, Hardware and System Requirements. Let's get into the nuts and bolts of what you actually need to run OpenClaw effectively. First, the good news. You don't need a gaming PC or an expensive workstation. A modest mini computer will work perfectly fine for most use cases. However, there are minimum requirements you should meet to ensure smooth operation. Let's break them down. For memory, also known as RAM, you'll want at least 16 gigabytes. This is the bare minimum for running OpenClaw with API-based models. If you plan to run local AI models, bump that up to 32 gigabytes. More RAM means the agent can handle more complex tasks simultaneously without slowing down. For the processor, any modern CPU will work, but some are better than others. Let's look at the options. If you're going the Mac route, any Apple Silicon chip will be excellent. The M1, M2, or M3 chips are all fantastic. They're efficient, powerful, and handle AI workloads beautifully. They are the gold standard for mini PCs right now. If you're using a Windows or Linux machine, look for at least an Intel Core i5 from the 10th generation onwards, or an AMD Ryzen 5 from the 4000 series onwards. For local AI models, Intel's newer Core Ultra processors have dedicated neural processing units that can accelerate AI tasks. Storage is less critical for OpenClaw itself, but you'll want at least 256 gigabytes of SSD storage. Solid-state drives are essential. Don't try to run this on an old spinning hard drive. The agent needs to read and write files quickly, and SSDs make a huge difference. The Mac Mini is an obvious choice. The base model with the M2 chip, 16 gigabytes of RAM, and 256 gigabytes of storage starts around $600. It's compact, silent, energy efficient, and powerful enough for most OpenClaw tasks. Plus, macOS is Unix-based, which makes installing development tools straightforward. For Windows users, Intel NUCs are excellent. NUC stands for Next Unit of Computing. They're tiny computers about the size of a large coaster. A well-configured NUC will run you between $500 and $800. They're upgradable, versatile, and run Windows or Linux smoothly. Great for those who want more control over their hardware. Budget conscious? Consider a used business mini PC. Brands like Dell, HP, and Lenovo sell refurbished mini computers for $300 to $400. Another option that's been gaining traction is cloud deployment. Services like DigitalOcean now offer one-click OpenClaw deployment. No upfront hardware cost and access from anywhere. The downside is ongoing monthly costs, typically $20 to $50 depending on specifications. Whichever route you choose, make sure you have a reliable internet connection. OpenClaw needs to communicate with AI model APIs, browse the web, and download tools. One more thing about hardware: power consumption. A Mac Mini might use 20 watts. Running it 24/7 will cost you maybe $5 to $10 per month in electricity. Compare that to a full desktop computer. Okay, you've got your hardware sorted. Now let's talk about the software foundation you need before installing OpenClaw. Section 4, Software Prerequisites. Before we can install OpenClaw, we need to set up the foundation. Think of this like preparing soil before planting a garden. Get this right, and everything else becomes easier. First up, your operating system. OpenClaw works on macOS, Windows, and Linux. Each has its quirks. macOS is generally the smoothest experience because it comes with many developer tools built in. Windows has improved dramatically for development work with Windows Subsystem for Linux, or WSL. Linux is powerful but assumes you're comfortable with the command line. For this guide, I'll focus on macOS since Mac Mini is a popular choice, but the concepts translate to other systems. Next, you need Python. Python is a programming language, and OpenClaw's installation process relies on it. Don't worry, you don't need to know how to program. You just need Python installed on your system. Most Macs come with it pre-installed, but you want Python version 3.8 or newer. To check if Python is installed, open the terminal application. You can find it in Applications, then Utilities, or just search for Terminal in Spotlight. Once Terminal is open, type Python 3--- version and press Enter. If you see something like Python 3.11.4, you're good. The easiest way to install Python on a Mac is using Homebrew. To install Homebrew, go to brew.sh and copy the installation command. Paste it into Terminal and press Enter. It will ask for your password and then download and install Homebrew. This takes a few minutes. Once Homebrew is installed, type brew install Python 3 and press Enter. Homebrew will download and install the latest Python version. Easy. Now let's talk about Node.js. Node.js is a JavaScript runtime that OpenClaw uses for some of its components. You need version 14 or newer. Check if it's installed by typing node -- version in Terminal. If it's not installed or the version is old, install it with Homebrew by typing brew install node. Next up, Git. Git is version control software that developers use to manage code. You'll use it to download OpenClaw from GitHub. Check if it's installed with git -- version. On Mac, the system will prompt you to install command line developer tools. Click Install and follow the prompts. Alright, now we get to the fun part, API keys. Remember, OpenClaw needs to connect to an AI model to function. If you're using Claude, you need an API key from Anthropic. Go to console.anthropic.com and create an account. Copy the key that's generated. This is your secret key. Treat it like a password. Don't share it with anyone or post it online. Anthropic requires you to add credit before you can use the API. My recommendation, start with $10. That's enough to experiment without breaking the bank. Claude Sonnet 4.5 is incredibly cost-effective. $10 can last weeks or even months depending on your usage. One more piece of housekeeping. Create a dedicated folder for OpenClaw on your mini computer. Create a new folder called AI Agents or something similar. Alright, we've got Python, Node.js, Git, and API keys ready. The groundwork is complete. Time to install OpenClaw. Section 5, Installing OpenClaw. This is the moment you've been waiting for. Let's actually install OpenClaw and get it running. Open Terminal if it's not already open. Navigate to the folder you created by typing cd AI agents and pressing Enter. The cd command means change directory. You're telling the computer to move into that folder. Now we're going to clone the repository. Type git clone, followed by the OpenClaw GitHub URL. Git will download all of the code into a new folder called OpenClaw. This takes a minute or two depending on your speed. Once it's done, navigate into the folder by typing cd OpenClaw and pressing Enter. Now you're inside the OpenClaw directory. Here's where the magic happens. OpenClaw has a simple installation script. Type npm install and press Enter. npm stands for Node Package Manager. This command tells Node to download and install all dependencies. You'll see a bunch of text scrolling by. This is normal. Let it run. It might take 5 to 10 minutes. Behind the scenes, OpenClaw is installing dozens of software packages called dependencies. Each one provides specific functionality. Some handle web browsing, others manage file operations. It's like assembling a toolkit where each dependency is a different tool. Once the installation finishes, it's time to configure OpenClaw. This is where you tell OpenClaw which AI model to use. Type npx OpenClaw in it and press Enter. The npx command runs a package, and in it starts the initialization wizard. The wizard will ask you questions. First, which AI provider you want to use. Use your arrow keys to select Anthropic. Next, it asks for your API key. Paste the key you copied earlier. Don't worry if you can't see the key as you paste. That's for security. Next, the wizard asks which Claude model you want to use. Select Claude Sonnet 4.5, the latest version. It's the sweet spot of performance. The wizard then asks about optional features like web search and code execution. For your first setup, enable all of these. Just follow the prompts. Finally, the wizard asks where to store logs. The default location is usually fine. Just press Enter to accept it. Congratulations! OpenClaw is now installed and configured. But before we start it up, let's do a quick sanity check. Type npx OpenClaw Doctor and press Enter. This command runs a diagnostic check to make sure everything is set up correctly. It verifies your API key and dependencies. If everything passes, you'll see green check marks. If not, it will suggest fixes. Assuming everything checks out, it's time for the moment of truth. Type npx OpenClaw Start and press Enter. OpenClaw will boot up. You'll see initialization messages, and then you'll be greeted with a prompt. How can I help you today? You're now talking to your first AI agent. It's running on your mini computer, connected to Claude, and ready to work. Let's test it. Type, create a text file called test.txt in my documents folder with the content, hello from OpenClaw. Press Enter. OpenClaw will think for a moment. You'll see it reasoning through the task. It will then execute the commands to create that file. Check your documents folder. The file should be there. That's your first successful automation. Next, best practices. Section 6. Using OpenClaw effectively. Having OpenClaw installed is one thing. Using it effectively is another. Let's talk about how to get the most out of your new AI agent without pulling your hair out. First, start small. I cannot stress this enough. Don't immediately try to automate your entire workflow on day one. Start with simple, low-stakes tasks. Ask OpenClaw to organize files, create basic documents, or search for information. Get a feel for how it thinks and operates. As you build confidence, gradually increase the complexity of your requests. Get a feel for how it thinks and operates. Here's a progression I recommend. Start with file management. Ask OpenClaw to create folders, move files around, or rename batches of documents. These tasks are simple, but give you immediate feedback on whether the agent is working correctly. Next, try information gathering. Ask OpenClaw to research a topic and compile a summary. For example, research the top 5 productivity apps of 2025. This tests its ability to browse the web, synthesize information, and produce high-quality outputs for you. Then move to basic automation. Set up OpenClaw to check your email every morning and sort messages into folders based on priority. Or have it monitor a specific website and notify you when content changes. These create and forget automations are where AI agents really shine. As you get comfortable, you can tackle complex projects. Build a web scraper to collect data from multiple sources. Create a bot that manages your social media presence. Develop an automated research pipeline for your work or studies. Now let's talk about prompting. How you communicate with OpenClaw matters a lot. Clear, specific instructions yield better results. Bad prompt. Do something with my files. Too vague. Better prompt. Organize all PDFs in my Downloads folder by moving them to my Documents folder. See the difference? Specificity matters. Include details about what, where, and how you want the task completed. Another tip, break complex tasks into steps. Instead of asking OpenClaw to build a website, try Step 1, create HTML. Step 2, add CSS. Use feedback loops. If something isn't quite right, provide corrective instructions. OpenClaw learns from this back and forth. Now let's address common mistakes beginners make. The biggest one? Giving OpenClaw too much autonomy too soon. Remember, it can execute commands. If you tell it to delete all files older than a year, it will do exactly that. Be cautious with destructive operations. Always double-check. Another mistake is not monitoring API usage. Check your dashboard regularly. Watch your token consumption for spikes. Documentation is your friend. OpenClaw has excellent docs on GitHub. The community has also created countless guides. Use them. Speaking of community, join the Discord server. Seriously, it's where thousands share tips and troubleshoot together. Everyone started as a beginner. Let's look at real use cases. Writers use OpenClaw to research topics, compile outlines, and even generate first drafts. It handles the prep work. Developers love it for coding assistance. It can scaffold projects, write boilerplate, and refactor existing codebases. It saves hours per week. Data analysts use it for collection and pre-processing. The agent can scrape websites, clean datasets, and generate visualizations in minutes. The key? These involve repetitive, rule-based tasks that consume time but don't require deep creativity. That's the sweet spot for AI agents. Section 7. Troubleshooting. No software is perfect, and OpenClaw is no exception. Let's talk about common issues you might encounter and how to fix them. Problem number 1. OpenClaw won't start. You type the start command and get an error. Usually, this is a configuration issue. First, check your API key. Run the doctor command to verify it's valid. If your key expired or hit a spending limit, it won't connect. Another cause is missing dependencies. If you interrupted the installation, some packages might be missing. Run npm install again. Problem number 2. The agent gives weird or incorrect responses. This usually means the AI model is confused by your prompt or lacks context. Try rephrasing your request or breaking the task into steps. Sometimes the issue is the model. Try switching between Claude and GPT-4. Problem number 3. OpenClaw is slow or unresponsive. Check your internet connection first. The agent needs constant communication. If your internet is fine, the issue might be on the API provider's side. They occasionally experience high demand that slows services. Another possibility is that your mini computer is underpowered. Close unnecessary applications. Consider upgrading RAM if issues persist. Problem number 4. Unexpected behavior. This is serious. If OpenClaw does something you didn't intend, stop it immediately. Type exit. Review what happened. Check the logs to understand what the agent was trying to do. They contain detailed records of every action. If you suspect a security issue, shut down the mini computer. Remember, this is why we run it on a separate machine. Damage is contained. Now let's talk maintenance. Keep OpenClaw updated. Run git pull followed by npm install to download the latest code and improvements. Monitor your API spending. Set up billing alerts in your Anthropic or OpenAI account to prevent surprise charges. Back up your configuration files. If something goes wrong, you can restore your setup quickly. Future you will thank, present you. All right, let's wrap this up and talk about what you've accomplished today. You've just set up your first AI agent. Think about that for a second. You have software running on your mini computer that can reason through problems and take action. That's not science fiction. We covered a lot of ground. From understanding what OpenClaw is to setting up hardware, software foundation, and your first automation. This is a genuine technological shift happening in real time. Over 100,000 GitHub stars. The Jarvis moment is here. So where do you go from here? My challenge to you is simple. Use OpenClaw for at least one automation this week. Just one. Pick something that annoys you. A repetitive task you do regularly. Maybe it's organizing downloads or compiling news summaries. Hand it off. Feel the satisfaction of having a digital assistant that actually assists. That's your Jarvis moment. As you get comfortable, expand. Try new automations. Experiment with different approaches. Share your successes and failures with the community. That's how we all grow together. A word of caution as we close. AI agents are powerful, but they're not magic. They make mistakes. Always review their work. Think of them as capable interns. The future of AI agents is unbelievably exciting. More capable agents are coming. Better integration, lower costs. It's going to be a wild ride. But the future starts with understanding the present, and now you understand OpenClaw. You've got the tools. You've got an agent right now. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe for more AI tutorials and deep dives. Drop a comment below.